not so much I'm going to say that you don't already know. So my duty is to remind you of what you know as a basis for you to think of what action you want to take. First of all, let us look at what is a debt. From the law, debt goes beyond Nigeria going to a bank or to Germany to IMF and World Bank to take money. Debt is so wide, including contractor arrears. All these contractors, the federal government is owing a lot of money. That's some debt to them. You also have bonds, debentures, notes or similar instruments. So in essence, even contingencies, when you make a guarantee for somebody or a state-owned corporation to take a loan, the money is not due to the federal government to pay as a loan. But if there is default on the part of the person who took that loan or part of that company, the liability may fall back on the federal government at the end of the day. And looking at the legal environment, the Fiscal Responsibility Act comes up again. It's a 2007 law, can you scroll to page 3? But it has been also amended. That's what people forget. It's been amended. Amending it was to respond to the fiscal crisis and challenges that Nigeria had. If you look at 1.3, they have amended section 12. We talked about limiting the deficits to not more than 3% of the GDP. Now, we have a new provision where it is said that aggregate expenditure for a financial year may exceed the ceiling imposed by the provisions of subsection 1 if, in the opinion of the President, as may be published in the official gazette of the Government of the Federation, or official directives or orders of the President, or through the appropriation, environment, or any other money act, pursuant to section 59 and 306 of the Constitution. So, when the Federation is at war, or any part of it is at war, imminent danger of ingression or involvement in a state of war, breakdown of public order, public safety, clear and present danger or natural breakdown of public order, occurrence of imminent danger. They've just listed a number of things saying you can exceed 3% of the GDP, which was in the original law. Then in section 41, the original law said that borrowing can only be for capital expenditure or human development. But it's been amended to include critical reforms or significant national impact. Critical reforms or significant national impact. When you want to lie the typical African language is very difficult, but these kind of words are nebulous and you cannot tie them down. What is a critical reform of significant national impact? It will be anything those in power define as a critical form of national impact. Okay, before too, it was only supposed to be on concessional terms. And concessional terms were defined as interest rates under 3%. Simply, that means that none of the loans we are taking, particularly the commercial loans, is within the contemplation of the law. But it has further been amended to say, apart from concessional terms, or at relatively low interest rates. So that has also been added to the Fiscal Responsibility Act. And we're also told that the public debt as a proportion of national income should be held at a sustainable level. Now, if you go to section 42, you have the issue of debt limitation, consolidated debt limit of the federal, state, and local governments, which the law says should be done. But unfortunately, since 2007 till date, that has not been done. And the only time we sought to do it by going to court, we got judgment, but of course, the judgment was disobeyed. And then you go to section 44, we talked about doing a cost-benefit analysis, detailing the economic and social benefits of the purpose for the loan. I will say without equivocation that since I started working in this sector, I have never seen a cost-benefit analysis. But that's what the law says, but I don't think anybody is doing it. Because if they were doing it and the cost-benefit analysis were properly done, I don't think we will be at the stage where we are today. I think it is important for us to understand the dynamics of borrowing, that because sometimes we will be misunderstood to say, people in the government circles will say, CSO says don't borrow. No, we don't never say that. Even in our private life, we all borrow. But the important question is, what are you borrowing for? And how do you apply the resources that you get from borrowing? As we shall see in proceeding with this discussion, we shall see that sometimes we have been borrowing for noble things. Sometimes we also borrow for things that don't make sense. But at the end of the day, are we investing the process of the borrowing properly? Then the big elephant in the room, which is section 48.1 of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, it says that government shall ensure that its fiscal and financial affairs are conducted in a transparent manner, and accordingly ensure full and timely disclosure. Underline the word full and timely disclosure, and wide publication of all transactions and decisions involving public revenues and expenditures and their implication for its finances. Full and timely disclosure, wide publication of every activity or decision relating to public revenue and expenditure. Now, last week, the President sent a communication to the Senate and the House for under his borrowing plan. And when it was read, what many of you did not realize is that that letter that was read is not the substance. That letter is the procedure. The substance is that that request came with a schedule of projects, over 15-20 pages of a schedule listing the exact projects, where they will be and what the things are for, that was attached. Now listen to this story. On Friday, because I was out of town, I sent one of my colleagues to the National Assembly, and he was at the right office where they directed him, and they told him, come and play, we are not going to allow you to take a copy of that we have instructions from our superiors not to let it go. Well, the best we can do to you is to allow you to cite it. We will not even allow you to take your phone to capture it, scan it, or do anything. So the devil is always in the details. It's not about borrowing, it's about what exactly are you borrowing to do. And if in this day and age we are still at a situation where the items that we are going to borrow for is marked top secret, and we say we are in a democracy, I don't know what kind of democracy we are talking about. Like my colleague did say, the supplementary budget of 2023 is still being implemented. The one of 2024 is scheduled till the end of June. And we have the 2025 budget. 2 days ago, I read of a speech Fayemi, the former governor of Ekiti, gave, where he said that MDAs told him that not a single call has been released to them for the 2025 budget. All right? And we are in June. So when are we going to implement that budget? If you go back to the website of the budget office, the 2025 appropriation bill is not there. What is there is the schedule to the bill, which are the MDA projects, but the bill itself, the act itself, is not there. I went there myself. When I didn't see it, I sent somebody to the budget office. They were dribbling and telling us stories. We opened the laptop and told them, it is not there. They kept dribbling. I told the guy to come back. I don't have their time. We did an FOI. They quickly, silently just gave us a copy. They still have not uploaded it today. And when I went through that bill, what you said came out. There is so much in service-wide votes. You know, before, wives of presidents don't usually demand that their name be written into the budget to get appropriation. What they usually do is to call a luncheon, all right? And on that day, maybe their husband, who is the president, will be around. And one time, if you are a contractor, you don't come and show face. You can continue to come and take your father's contract, or to make a pledge to the first lady and refuse, play politics with it, refuse to pay. But now we are having projects specifically written in for the first lady, who is not known to Nigeria's constitutional or statutory jurisprudence. We are discussing with her. There is 200 billion renewed health scope agenda, apart from the money going to the Ministry of Health. Now, if we are serious with health, why can't we just use that money and put it under the basic healthcare provision fund and use it to cover health insurance, for instance, 1 million poorest of the poor in Nigeria? So that's the kind of thing we are seeing. Transparency is a huge challenge. And in box 1, we detail the duties of the debt management office. If you look at the table, total public debt portfolio as at 31st December, the figures have already been given. 144.665 trillion, coming up to 94.25 billion. The challenge is that we are going up on health, on external debts. Can you permit me to sit down? I'm not feeling too well, please, so that I can continue this. So this figure, the challenge is that external debt is now 48.65%, 48 points, and domestic debt 51, which is not good enough.